Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You've reached the Boho Info Show, and it is the weekend, or was the weekend. How days are going by too fast. Beginning of the week. Sorry about that. Anyway, we're here coming to you guys on another big doozy of a show. Um, you can tell in my voice, I'm being cautiously careful on how I'm going to present what I'm going to present to you guys. So stay tuned. Make sure you get a piece of paper and a pen and pencil. Write down any notes throughout the show. You can always rewind, replay my show at any point in time, and to pick up whatever info you lost or didn't see. Also, get yourself something to drink and go to the bathroom because this is going to be at least a good hour long kind of show. It's going to be packed with some really high end stuff. I'm going to be answering some of Marfugo's family's shows answers on certain things, at least from what I'm getting on my resources. And yeah, it's something you're definitely going to have to buckle up for. You can tell my voice. I'm shocked, I guess, but I'm not really shocked. I knew it was coming. Um, but yeah, anyway, take everything we say with a grain of salt. Do your own research. We make no claims on anything medically or otherwise. And you guys are welcome to chat or whatever you want to do in the comment area on anything you want to do there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to put links on the scrolling part on the bottom of the page. So be very aware of where I'm getting my information from verbally, I guess in my verbalism. I'm telling you where my information's coming from that way, okay? Let's see, what else can I tell you guys? Um, so I'm gonna say hi to everybody. Blue Lou, Minnesota, Christopher, Lovely, all this stuff. Okay. Yeah, if you want to drink whatever you want to drink, I guess that's on you. Me, I'm having some water because I'm dehydrated. That's another thing too. You guys got to be careful of here through the summertime, let alone any other time. If you're feeling dizzy, that means you're probably dehydrated. So yeah, get yourself plenty of fluids in you. That's my problem. I didn't get enough over the weekend, worked too hard, I guess, or something, and didn't drink enough. But no, I'm not drinking alcohol, Christopher. I'm drinking water. Um, so anyway, yeah, let's get into the show. I know a lot of you guys don't want the religious thing pushed on you, and I'm not trying to push anything religiously wise right now, but I think it's a good way to start the program right now on this because um, many of us go to our own churches, right, or places of worship, and sometimes the leaders involved that are giving you those messages are not really, I mean, yes, they're following their holy text, whether it's the Bible or something else, but they're not really, what do you call it, giving you a reality check of a wake up call. I mean, they are on a biblical sense, but they're not meeting the needs to what's happening in reality in current time to the actual connection to the Bible, right? So I know a lot of you guys may not like this guy that I'm about to play, but I just want you not, be against him, but just kind of like listen into the verbal message part of it because I think a lot of us have to still keep the hope, the faith of what's going on in the world and to stay true to that hope and faith of, what is about to happen. A lot of us are going to lose perspective. A lot of us are going to get shut down by our peers, are going to be shut down by our parents. My parents have shut me down on what's going to happen. I've had other people in relations, friends, coworkers, things like that, um, to shut me down on different sources. Now, when we talk about things on social media, we talk about it because we're socializing, right? I mean, isn't talking, you know, whether you're talking to one person or a group of people talking to socialize, right? Yet we're still getting the censored thing, right? And other things happening, and it's all because of the big scale of what's going to happen against good against evil, right? And all these corporations that are coming out that are censoring, you know, could be the bad guy, right? Or whatever. Depends on your perspective. But I'm trying to keep an open mind for everybody. But I have to show you this part. And I want you to listen to this part, okay?
Did religion cause World War II? No. So why would you believe that? What were the enemies of World War II? They were Nazism and socialism. And I said, not.
Now I want to stop there for a minute because there's so many Democrats calling the Republicans Nazis. And so many grassroots organizations on the left claiming on the right side they're Nazis, right? And vice versa. Now, you don't hear a leader in a church talk about this, but I think it's something that's long overdue. The reason why society has gotten to a point where it's at is because we're not talking our problems out. We're not putting ourselves in other people's shoes. We're not, feeling what's happening in the world. We're just, it's fine to follow the Bible and everything, but we need to also correlate it with what's happening in the world in real life time. You know what I mean? But through my shows, I always give my opinion, so I might be stopping and starting through things. So that's just the way my programs go. But I wanted to see this because I think this is a really good message to people out there in a religious leadership position to be talking to all their people in their churches or followers of whatever, to be talking about this stuff. You know what I mean? But we also need to talk about it in everyday life, no matter where we're at. And I don't mean to get someone upset or get someone triggered or whatever they call it, right? But I mean to discuss it, because what we have here is what I think what's going on is a huge generation gap. When we've got these young people that's not taught history like when the people that are 50, 60, 70 years old were taught history. You know what I'm saying? They've changed the textbooks and things. And we know a lot of those textbooks have lied and stuff about history and other things, right? Don't tell you everything, just like the Bible didn't tell you everything. But anyway, and that they left certain, chapters out and all that. But anyway, I think it's important that we hear the perspective on what I'm going to, talk to you guys about, and you're going to listen to correlate, to keep the hope and the faith. So I'm going to continue.
Nazism died because of the Nuremberg trials.
Now, did you hear that? Nazism died because of the Nuremberg trials. Now, how many of you guys on the internet have seen or heard on some kind of social media platform or some kind of app, okay, that talks about, different social things, talks about this, or we've seen messages about it, or did some research on it, okay? When have our society grown up and actually talked about it as a group of an adults? And I think this man, I mean, not that I'm from his thing and I'm not endorsing him and I'm not from his church or whatever, but I think it's to a point where we need to have society talk about these things, because we have a group of younger people that didn't go through World War I or World War II, okay, or didn't even go through the Vietnam War, or didn't know nothing about the Nuremberg codes or anything else, right? And so, of course, what's going to happen? They're going to join what? The left side, and the left side into the grassroots organizations and do whatever, right? but they don't have that foundation of knowledge. So they lack that knowledge, right?
It exposed its sins, it punished its evil. But communism never had that kind of trial. It kept going and going, and now it's just in the brains of all sorts of young people and teachers and politicians and even clergymen, priests and pastors. So what we need to do today is we need to put Marxism on trial. We need to expose the true evil nature of what is called Marxist socialism, communism, collectivism. What does it mean? Officially, they say that it is the state control of the economy. Now, the economy doesn't really exist, right? The economy is actually people who go out and work. It's actually a measurement for people's activity. So state control of the economy means state control of you, state control of your money and your decisions. As I said,
Now I want you guys to see this picture. On the left side, they had the C word with you have two cows, and the state takes both of them and gives you some milk. So that gives you a kind of idea of the return of how much you get under that kind of regime. You know, so like if you had like $2, out of that $2, you get 1/4 back, right? That's an example of the C one, which is on this side here. Okay. Now the S one on the right, you have two cows, and they give you one. They give one to your neighbor. Now think about that. You have $2, but $1 goes to your neighbor. Okay, just giving you a reality check, a wake up thing.
this philosophy has permeated teachers' union, academia, politics. Yet for most of history, everyone agreed that communism is the enemy of freedom, faith, and democracy. As recently as 1983, President Ronald Reagan called the USSR, or the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, the evil empire. And the majority of the world agreed.
Now, think about the time span on that, though. I don't believe Mr. P-Man was in charge over there at the USSR one, okay? There's another leader. You know who he is.
No American would question this. They are the evil empire back in the 1980s. In 2009, when Obama's communications director, Anita Dunn, admitted that one of her, quote, favorite political philosophers was the founder of the Chinese Communist Party, Mao Zedong, she had to immediately resign under pressure.
Now, you hear this? Now, remember I told you in any of my shows, I always give you codes, clues, things to look in between lines. What he just said, you can replay it at your own thing, okay? But he's given out right now a clue right now showing proof that under Mr. O's term, they have certain people on his board or panel board, EP staffers, whatever, that were enlightened, I should say, probably under the CCP thing, right? And was supporting them, wanted to support them because they believed in it. Now, when you have people that are believing in a C kind of way of world, okay, you run into problems, okay? And because they're so much fat cats and they have a lot of cash, they don't mind starving themselves because they have a lot of cash. See, when you become a bureaucrat, you know what I'm saying?
A decade later, Anita Dunn is back in the White House, serving as the senior advisor to Joe Biden.
And that's what's wrong with our current terms, Mr. B Man, that is our supposedly leader of this land, okay? Now, you can't have what our founding fathers had as a foundation and have employees that support the opposite. You know what I'm saying? That's like rubbing two pennies between each other with something to spark it. You know what I mean? And they're going to find out, and people are going to find out more and more and more that there's more people infiltrated from the CCP in this country in all levels of government. Not only just with what you're just hearing right now with proof, okay, but with other areas, including different branches of our services, and so on, even politicians.
And she no longer apologizes for praising a communist who killed 50 million of his own citizens. That's her hero. And there are many others like her in the Biden administration.
See? So he has the same information as many of us do, okay? Showing the proof that the CCP basically has infiltrated everything in the big house. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not 100%, but probably a good portion. I don't know the percentage, but right there is enough to give you proof, right?
Marxism is making new inroads even into the Christian church.
And that's another thing that we got to be very careful about. That's why I'm calling out all leaders of all churches to start backing up this country and telling your followers, not only to keep the faith and to believe in God, but you know what I'm saying? Support this country.
Richard Wurmbrand, a Romanian survivor of communism, imprisoned for 14 years for speaking out against communism, wrote a book in which he said, "There are even Christians, and amazingly clergymen, who are sure that while Jesus might have had the right answers about how to get saved, Marx had the right answers about how to help the hungry, destitute, and oppressed the unfree." So is Marxism a concern? Is there anything wrong with Karl Marx and communist socialism? In their official definition, communism is an economic system in which everyone works according to his abilities and everyone receives according to his needs. Marx wrote this slogan in 1875, "From each according to his ability and to each according to his needs." Now, how would that happen? Marx assumed that someone had to redistribute wealth and power from the privileged to the oppressed, from what he called the bourgeoisie to the proletariat, the name for the working class. Well, who's that person who should do that? Of course it's him. Of course it's his disciples. It's not you. Communism says that capitalism is oppressive. Factories and farms ought to belong to the collective. This is the word that they use constantly in American politics now and in American media. Collective. Well, what is that? Nobody knows. Who is the collective? Communism claims that everyone will be rewarded according to his needs. Theoretically, under communism, there would be no social classes, no private property, and everything belongs to everyone. Slogan is, you will own.
Now think about that. Okay? You can't own your home or the land that you're on or your farm or the business or factory that you put on there or even the business. That is all belonging to the whole collective. Can you imagine?
Own nothing, and you will be happy about it.
And that's what they're trying to do.
This is completely antithetical to the scriptures. Let me read to you just two of the scriptures. Obviously, you got the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not steal. If you read this scripture well, you are stealing from someone to give to another person. And you are the God.
Did you hear that? I want to play that one again, if you can play it again here. Listen to this closely.
Happy about it. Talk about real oppression. This is completely antithetical to the scriptures. Let me read to you just two of the scriptures. Obviously, you got the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not steal. If you redistribute wealth, you are stealing from someone to give to another person. And you are the God that decides who deserves what. Who has that power on this earth? The communists think they're God. In Isaiah 65, verse 21,
Now, think about that. They say the communist people think that they're gods. So think about that with Nancy and the Democrats there, Schumer and all them. They're doing all these actions without even the say from a president or passing it in a House or a Senate. How many times have we heard this since Mr. B got into office, right? And so they're acting as individual gods with the power of God. And they can't do that because they themselves, if they went to church themselves, would know that they would break that 10th commandment kind of situation.
God said, they shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and eat their fruit. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree, so shall be the days of my people, and my elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. You don't long enjoy the work of somebody else's hands, because it's called theft. You're disrespecting and dishonoring somebody else's property. You build, you live in it. You work, you eat your fruit. But you don't take from somebody else who worked harder than you. Micah chapter,
And that's exactly what the Democrats are doing. They're taking and taking and taking.
chapter 4, verse 4 says, but everyone shall sit under his vine and under his fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. Well, what would make you afraid if you're sitting under your fig tree and your vine? What has made people afraid for eons is that somebody else would come and take your vineyard and the labor of your hands. That's what makes people afraid. God said, I will.
Now, I want to stop there. He's talking about vineyard, right? So think about all the fires that we had in California, right? And then some of you guys went down that rabbit hole and thought it was the PC something company, electric company, and all that stuff, right? Okay. So think about that. They were creating maybe those fires because they were taken away from those vineyard people, of owners, right? I mean, I'm just saying, think about it.
Will not tolerate this spirit of communism and this collectivism, which is the theft. It's theft. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken. This is what, in theory, communist dictatorships have promised. Everyone will be rewarded according to their needs. But in practice, communist regimes are the most corrupt kleptocracies. You know what that is? That means rulers are the thieves who redistribute wealth by force to whoever they choose.
And that's what's going on with the Democrats and the world leaders right now.
Call them kleptocrats. They are really kleptocracies. The social classes under communism are even more divided between the powerful and the powerless. And the means of production are seized and controlled by the rulers of the state. Was helping the poor Karl Marx's real agenda? He spoke as if it was, overthrow capitalism. But in reality, when you read his writings, you find out that his real goal was the abolition of God. And he said it in no uncertain term, and I don't know why we don't educate students about this, because he's not who he claims to be. He's a pretender. He's a scammer. Man, I hate scammers. In critique of Hegelian Philosophy of Law, Marx wrote, quote, "The abolition of religion as the illusory happiness of man is the requisite for their real happiness." He says, well, Christians might look happy, but they're not really. Let me destroy what they believe. Then they will be happy. This guy is an absolute psycho.
Now, think about that. They're doing the same thing here in the United States. I know they're doing it in other countries. How many riots have we heard about and floods in other countries? They're trying to destroy all these different countries. They're going to try to do the same thing here in the United States. I'll get to more about that after we get out of this program into something else on it, but it's all, like I say, in their plans. This is their plans, okay? This is how much they're in trouble with the Almighty, okay? And I'm really wondering why churches out there and people of leadership in any church does not talk and correlate with the problems that's happening in current time, like this man is, to get people to feel not only that this is real, okay, but they're stirring them up, waking them up, making them think, making them question things. Maybe they have to question their own faith. I don't know.
Listen to the big lies and the big promises of this scam artist. He pretends to be the working man's friend, and yet he never worked a day in a factory or a farm. In fact, his own father said he just squandered the family's wealth and didn't work and didn't take care of his own family. We're going to put Marx on trial pretty soon here in a Nuremberg types trial. He got away with it. When the Nazis didn't, somehow the communists got away with it. He just took from others, and he teaches his followers to take. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14, and no wonder. For Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light. Therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also transform themselves into ministers of righteousness, whose end will be according to their works. Jesus said in Matthew 7, verse 15, he warned, beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. Who could be more of a ravenous wolf than a man who's responsible, whose philosophy is responsible for the killing of over 100 people? You put all the religious conflicts combined through all time, and not as many people died. There is nothing more evil on earth than Nazism and communism. And so many people think that it's cool to be a Marxist.
And that's what's wrong with our younger generation. That's why we have so many of them joining the ranks of these grassroots organizations in these political parties, mostly on the left side, thinking that it's cool to be a Marxist, thinking that it's cool to be a communist, when they themselves have not experienced anything of any of the world wars or the aftermath of it. Not only with physical stuff happening, in the world, but the economy, as well as living conditions, as well as jobs, and how long it takes to recover. I have come across thousands of people here in Florida alone, after a hurricane hits, ask me for advice when another hurricane hits, how long economics will be where they get back, where they're able to go back to work and make some money, and it's the same thing with war. When we're in war, no one wins. We have this huge. Here's the big picture. When we will go to war to any country, okay, no country wins. They think they do, but they don't, because it is a no-win situation. No matter if we use the nukes or not nukes, and it's just other stuff, nobody wins because it damages the economy. It damages the economic growth of that country when it comes to our youth and learning in school and growing up and losing a generation of value with just lifelong real life experiences, you know. But on top of that, there's so much value in it that gets wasted, you know. And I don't know. It's just something that I
Devil
don't know.
disguises himself. The Freemason pretends that he's for Christ. The communist scams the poor into accepting their worst enemies as their legitimate rulers. Communists promise egalitarianism, yet create the most monstrous inequalities. They admit themselves that in order to get to that equitable outcome, the world must pass through, listen to this, the stage of a dictatorship of the proletariat. They admit in order to get to this utopia, there must be a class of ruthless revolutionaries who must get rid of all who disagree with them or oppose them.
And I'm going to stop there. That's exactly what's going on right now, currently, with our Democrats. This is exactly what's going on with what you're seeing with all the stuff happening, where you're hearing reports about possibly UN coming in and, Mr. Biden passing the certain laws and things that are not copacetic. Same thing with Pelosi doing her thing. You know what I'm saying? This all correlates. All correlates.
And you know what? This is exactly what the megalomaniacs of the 20th century have done. The names Pol Pot, Kim Jong-il, Mao Zedong, Joseph Stalin, these murderers were implementing socialism, Marxist socialism. And while doing it, the greatest social and economic gaps in history were found under their communist dictatorships. Communism promises universal brotherhood. But under communism, some people are more equal than others. Most are powerless and hungry, without electricity, without choice. You know that in North Korea, they mandate what type of haircut you can have, what kind of clothes you can wear. That's communism. That's egalitarianism. You're all equal. But do you think the ruling class is that way? Of course not. It's an absurdity to them because they live by a different standard. And you can see that today among the Democrats, how they give a mandate for masks, but then you can see over and over, they don't wear the mask themselves. They say you cannot travel, but then they can travel because they are exempt. The social and economic gap is even wider under socialism. How many nations in the world live under this delusion? There are 5 nations officially in the world. Out of a family of 200 nations in the world, 5 are officially communists. China, North Korea, Cuba, Laos, and Vietnam.
Now, I want you to take that in, write your notes on paper, do what you need to do. But I think it's important to know your enemy, okay? To know who these people are, because I'm going to give you guys homework. I want you guys to look at every politician on the left side, right side, and see how many of them communicate with any of these countries on a frequent situation, okay? You'll see the left side are the ones that are frequently not only visiting these countries, but they're talking with them either on the phone, they're going to talk with them on email, they're going to correlate with them maybe on a live video call, maybe, I don't know. And then see how many politicians and who they are, and write yourself out a list on the left side. Remember, I taught you guys a long time ago how to reverse the money trail? Well, this is how you reverse the communism trail, okay? You start with these countries so you know who they are, but then you take every Democrat on the list, okay? Same thing with independents and Green Party, etc., okay? and you look and do a complete background on them, and I told you most likely most politicians will have something registered in Wikipedia or other sites on the web. Very easy to find. Okay. And this is how you find out if they have communist or Marxist tendencies in them, meaning that they've communicated, shared ideas, did business with them, etc. Now, here's the other thing. It doesn't always, and it's also not just with the politicians, okay, but it's also with our different services, you know, the three-letter agencies, I'll put it that way, as well. Those as well have to be done the same way and filtered the same way. Everything in the whole government thing has to go through a sieve, you know, like a sifter, and you have to do the same thing to see if any of them have connections and ties and business relations and business ties with any of these, no matter if it's a governmental thing, whether it's a local thing, a long distance thing on the phone, email, a business situation, or even a contractor or subcontractor. Okay. All these combined are the connections to influence what is created right now in these problems. Now, then you'll see also too the bigger elite like Soros and some of the Rothschilds and so on and so forth will also see that they have connections to these countries too. Why? Because they wash hands with them with everything they do. Okay. So there again, you have to see everything on a perspective, but you have to correlate it with the Bible as well. And enemy for what it's worth, how to protect against the enemy for what it's worth. And like I say, the spiritual and pray warriors and all them out there. Okay. So we have to get rid of them, right? Now, this is the this has been an evolutionary problem, meaning that from the beginning of many younger generations that never experienced war, haven't had a family member in the military to experience war or had experienced it or anything like that, to know what what even is communism, let alone Marxism, all that stuff, right? I guess, but to know the ordeals of living, what real life living is underneath those type of plans. Now, I told you guys in my early show a long time ago, I come from a military family from all four branches. Okay. On top of it, I've had a grandmother that went through the Great Depression. Now, some of you guys taken my advice and went over to Pinterest, and I've got depression survival tips over there. Okay. Because if we get down to the nitty gritty and the shift hits the fan, we're going to be seeing another type of thing like that happen again, for one. Okay. Number two, then we're going to be under the control of this kind of stuff for a while. And then you got to be able to handle the outcome from it, right? But there's a lot more to it than this, because right now what we're trying to do is curb this so that it doesn't take over the nation. And this is exactly what they're trying to do. They're infiltrating all these communist Marxist politicians that infiltrated into our government system, along with government employees and branches and three-letter agencies that have infiltrated in our government system to the point where they've overturned laws, not given the United States its legal system that, according to our founding fathers, have based the legal system from, and also has created other problems where laws are getting changed and passed that are in that tendency of communism and Marxism. See, so what T-Man and other people are trying to do is take that sifter and show people the light. But unless your own light bulb goes off, or you don't, you question your own faith and question the country and the motives that they're trying to do right now, that light bulb won't go off, see? And you're not awake. So you have to turn the light bulb on and question things. It's at a point right now where, let's say, I'm just giving you the example now, not saying it's going to happen, but just say a what if a kind of person of a Stalin was in charge of this country, or the Hitler. Okay. Some people in my audience will say, hey, yay, 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 but those are the ones that did not go through a war themselves. Okay. Those are the ones that have that generational gap, that didn't have family members lost to war, or involved with war, or served in the military, or gone through a big depression, or come from a oppressed type of country because of it. Look at the past example with Venezuela. I gave a warning about a year before they actually happened, where Venezuela completely collapsed because of their leadership. This is exactly the same crap right now that's happening in the United States. And it's the same crap that's happening in other countries. This is why you hear this freedom riot thing, or protest, whatever, in other countries, is because those people are awake in the other countries, realizing that their leaders are this communist and other socialistic, whatever kind of tendencies, Marxist, not socialist, but Marxist and communist tendencies. Now, what are you going to do about it? You're going to wake up. You're going to go to your spiritual leader of your church and say, how come you're not talking about real life examples and experiences to our Bible studies? That's what you're going to do, number one. Number two, then you create your group of spiritual warriors and prayers. Because boy, do we need pray right now. We need pray more than than ever before. Some of this big news that's coming down, you're going to be crapping your drawers. I'll put it that way. You're going to be crapping your drawers and say, oh, this could never happen to America. But you're going to be crapping your drawers. I want to see some thumbs up in there too, by the way. Don't forget your thumbs up on this program. Let's continue into this. Thumbs up, people.
People flee to go live in these countries. There's a great solution to all the young students who dream of a communist utopia. Just move to Laos. Just move there. They already said they welcome communism. They love Karl Marx. Go try it out. Go see how it is. Russia, of course, is a kind of communist country, but communism failed in 1991, and the USSR collapsed into Russia and 14 other countries. And so whether you can say Russia is a pure communist country today, well, they've already shown that it's failed, and they're moving much more towards capitalism.
You see? Now that's a perfect example. Russia fell. That was when Gorbachev or whatever was running it at the time, before Putin here or whatever. They realized that they made mistakes. But in order for them to realize they made mistakes and realize that their country was penetrated with people of spies of communist and Marxism, they had to do the same thing as what America's doing right now, sifting out all of them, trying to arrest them, put them down in Guantanamo, whatever, guillotine them, whatever they're trying to do with them. I don't know. But they're doing the same thing, right? And so what happens, they collapsed. After they collapsed, they picked up the pieces and they moved forward, and they're moving towards what? Capitalism. Well, we have people, right now, we have capitalism in our country. We need to keep capitalism in our country. But in order for us to do so, we need our politicians that swore an oath to this country to step up, step out, step in front, okay, and make their way forward, pushing against Biden and impeaching him. And anyone else that stands for Marxism and communism. And I don't care how many years, like Pelosi's been in office there doing her little gavel situation for 10 years, 15 years, or whatever. I mean, all of them. If they're not for capitalism, they're out. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing, in order for this world to rotate monetarily on all levels, to have e-commerce, to have commerce with other countries, we have to have capitalism. Right? In order for the elite to maintain, and here's the stupid part, in order for the elite to maintain their numbers to be rich and get richer, they need capitalism. Because if you take all that away and you have no money, then they have no money. Their money is going to be just as worthless, if not worse than us, because they're going to be more in debt than us. Their money is going to be worth less than the poor person. And they're going to be more in debt than the poor person is. So we need capitalism and keep capitalism, see? Because it helps make the whole earth rotate and move on our trade and all our things that happen monetarily throughout the globe, just as if we have magnetism in our earth to make things move and rotate the same way. Yeah, I know I got someone out there disagreeing with things. But this is, I'm kind of doing it kind of in layman's terms the best I can right now to explain things. But there's going to be people out there that says no, socialism is better, no, communism is better, no, Marxism better. Well, when you have all those three, you don't have anything. You don't have the money. You don't have the commerce. You are no longer rich. You are no longer going to be a billionaire. You're going to be owing tons of mega money. And you're going to be in debt in the billions.
A myriad of African countries started out as communists, and they have all failed. All failed. Talk about following a loser. Angola, Mozambique, Congo, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe were all led by communists. Robert Mugabe was one of the worst, bloodthirsty murderers of his own people. That's the leader of Zimbabwe. They are the most corrupt kleptocracies known among the nations. Why would we not teach our children this? Why would there not be a class about the reality, the truth, and the secrets of communists?
And that's my question to you guys. To you ask your people that is teaching you in your schools, for one. No matter if you're from grade school to college, why aren't they teaching you this? Some might touch a little bit on it, but not go in heavy depth of it. Okay? But at the same time, why are they not talking about this as well in our churches and our religious leadership type situations either?
Let me give you some famous names of communism, and then we will judge Marx. We'll put him on trial. In case you didn't know these names, Moses Hess initiated Marx into Satanism and converted Marx to socialism. Hess called him Dr. Marx, my idol, who will give the last kick to medieval religion and politics. Wait a second, I thought they were rational. I thought they were atheistic and secular. Why do they talk about hating religion and hating God? In fact, hating religion and blaspheming God was Karl Marx's first aim. Not setting the working class free, not welfare for all. Who was Karl Marx? Born in 1818 in Trier, Germany, he wrote Das Kapital and the Communist Manifesto. In fact, he wrote 100 volumes but only 13 got published. The others exist, but are kept in secret. And you need to ask, why is that? If there's 100 volumes written by this great man, why do we only read 13? Well, those who have researched it and seen these writings said they're so embarrassing and discrediting that they must be hidden. The key concept is that Marx claimed that communism is a struggle between the proletariat against the bourgeoisie oppressors. But in reality, he didn't care about the working class at all. He didn't belong to the working class. He was from a filthy rich family, and he sponged off of his father and his friend. He never worked a day in his life on a farm or in any factory. In fact, one time Engels invited him to go see a factory, and he didn't go. He knew nothing and was in constant financial struggle and in debt.
Now, that's another thing. Many politicians have either gotten their ego so big that they lost the concept of the roots of where they came from, or they've never experienced the actual roots of this country, of the hardworking, backbreaking labor of this country. And I think that's also another problem, too. You know? Think about it.
And yet this is the great economist that's being taught in our universities and believed in the upper echelons of our politics. He taught economics to others, but he didn't work.
Now, how can you teach economics when you're not working? You see what I'm saying? I mean, there again, that's proof that a lot of stuff that you're being taught in school is being taught in theory, where they have no real life experiences or education of real life experience of correlating to the lesson plan of this. You see what I'm saying?
Day in his life. Frederick Engels, this was his friend, born in 1820, was a German economist. Engels financially supported Marx, co-authored the Communist Manifesto in 1848, and after Marx's death, Engels edited the second and third volumes of Das Kapital. That's German for the capital, okay, the capitalism. Bruno Bauer, born in 1809, was a German philosopher and liberal theologian. So here's a case of Satan recruiting a Christian. By the way, all these guys were Christian, professing Christian.
Now, that's another thing spiritual warriors and people of faith have to be careful of, is that you'll get a lot of these Satanist politicianal people kind of influencing you when you're a good Christian to influence you and then all of a sudden convert you.
Engels, Marx, and Bauer. They're like the trinity of Satanism. They're like the trinity of communism. And he was a liberal theologian. This is a term for a backslidden, deceived preacher. Liberal theologian. From 1839 to 1841, Bauer was the teacher, mentor, and a close friend of Karl Marx. Vladimir Lenin, born in 1870, ruled Soviet Russia from 1917 to 1922, and ruled the Soviet Union from 1922 to 1924. That's until his death. Joseph Stalin ruled the Soviet Union from 1927 until his death in 1953. Mao Zedong, born in 1893, was the founding father of the People's Republic of China, which is not for the people, of the people, or by the people, and not a republic. So there's the inversion, by the way. Satanism always uses inversions. He ruled as chairman of the Chinese Communist Party from 1949 until his death in 1976. By the way, notice Lenin, Stalin, Mao, all of them rule until their death. It's one-party rule, lifetime rule. It's not democracy, it's the enemy of democracy. This is how it's been implemented everywhere. Together, these rulers killed more than 100 million of their own citizens. There is a new form of Marxism that we just need to define. It's called cultural Marxism. And it's socialist. It's the socialist Marxist movement seeking to apply communism to matters of race, gender, family composition, and cultural identity.
Now, I want to stop there because I want you to listen to this part really closely because this is going to correlate with, think about Soros and Gates and some of the ones there that belong to the one group that they're all grouped from. You know what I'm saying? And I will give you a link on this one too, so you can listen to his program entirely. But I want you to just listen to this briefly, and then we're going to go into the rest of the news.
Marxism to economics has failed everywhere it was tried. But I'll make it easy for you. Cultural Marxism is simply anti-Christianity. It is Satanism.
So I'm going to give you the link on this, and we're going to continue into the rest of the show. So give me a minute. Any questions on anything? I'm going to put this in the comment area. So if you are in my live show, you will get this area on the comment area, okay? And then we're going to continue into the rest of the show. All right. So there's the comment there. And let me see if I can put it in the banner for this one too as well. So we'll put the banner in there too. And then we'll have this scroll across. So if you're not in chat at a later time, for those who didn't see the show, maybe you can see this one too. I don't know. So we'll put that one in there now. All right. And we're going to continue with the rest of the show because, like I say, some of the information that I have is going to be a little upsetting maybe. So if you're a person that gets upset easy, maybe be careful on this. So... all right. So that's the link there I got rolling around. Now, the next one is this one. I want you to hear this guy. This guy here is in a hospital, and he's taken the CV shot, and he has his vaccinational card thing, right? And doctors in the hospital are coming up to him. All the people, all the medical staff is coming up to him and saying stuff to him. And I want you to listen to his message to those who has taken the pump in the arm. And I will give you a link on this one as well, too.
I love how you say not a single doctor would tell me they are so sorry that I actually took the Johnson & Johnson. Every time my doctor, every time my specialist come in this room, they pick up this vaccine card every time. I have it here. It sits right here. So if I ever forget while I'm here, why I'm in pain, why I'm doing this, I can look at that card. Every time they walk in, they grab that card and look at it, they shake their head, and they say, I'm so sorry you took that vaccine. I'm so sorry anybody takes these vaccines right now. We do not have enough time yet of research. What are we doing? Guys, these doctors are real here. Telling me. I love how you say not as...
So, again, I've listed and given you guys proof from medical doctors throughout the globe about how unsafe the pump in the arm is. If they do a complete lockdown on us again, like I told you, the first one would be a test. If they do a complete lockdown again on us and they go door to door with this situation, it's going to be a Jack Kevorkian situation on every individual that didn't get one. Okay? And it depends. And when I'm saying that, I'm not saying it's not going to be a necessary thing where they're going to kill you, right? But the possibility is there. What if? Okay? But if your immune system's compromised or you have underlying problems, it could. You never know. You know what I'm saying? But this man ended up being in the hospital, and he is witnessing to you guys the truth, okay? Because he is in the hospital with proof of him taking that pump in the arm and his card and what his medical doctors are saying to him, which are, real medical doctors, So if you come across some medical person saying, "Oh yeah, they're safe and all this stuff," that's a bunch of bullshit. Pardon my French, but it is. It's a bunch of bullshit. And doctors are saying to him that there's not enough research done on him. I'm sorry that you took it. I'm so sorry. All this stuff. So that's proof in itself. You know what I mean? I mean, there's more I've given in past situations as well, but I just wanted to pull that out to let you guys know, on that. If you want to see his proof on that, I'll give you that too. Give me a minute. I'll post that over here as well. And you can see that one as well. Give me a minute and I'll put that in there. All right, now, all right, that one's scrolling on the bottom. All right, so now I want to make a notation on you guys here. Give me a minute. Let me go into. I want to give you guys a note here to write down that I'm on Telegram now, and I can't say a lot of things on this kind of platform or other platforms because of the type of information that's coming out. Okay. And at the same time, some of it's sensitive, some of it isn't. But anyway, you'll see my information in my Telegraph page. Look for boho info something, okay? But it's in there. Let me see if I can, give me a minute here while you guys are looking at this a minute and see if I can pop it up and give you the exact wording, because I need you guys, out of the people that are listening right now, to make sure that you climb aboard on that, because that is going to be giving me kind of pass along information, but also information I get as well on current situations that are changing. And there's going to be huge amounts of change coming soon, really soon. All right, so it's called the Boho's Info Channel. Okay. Called the Boho's Info Channel on what do they call Telegraph, right? Okay. So yes. See, they don't want me to show you this, so they're going to constantly give me pop-ups on this. But what's going on here is there is supposedly a lawsuit, and it's a landmark one. And this was posted on Monday, May 18th about it, but it's a landmark. So this has happened with Kennedy Jr., and it suppressed the anti-vax documentary, Vax Have Informed Consent Action Network, ICANN, and their credit with this victory. But I will give you guys the link on this one. This one is a new thing because I think this opens up one of the loopholes in the legality of possibly suing the U.S. government for damages caused by the CV pump in the arm. But this means here, it says this means the U.S. Department of Health people for over 30 years, and the effectiveness and safetyness of the pumps in the arm may ultimately mean that continuing the existence, at least in their current form, of 5 U.S. healthcare agencies now in doubt: the CDC, the FDA, the IOM, and the NIH. And the health part of the DHHS itself. This also may threaten the existing state medical boards and exclusive medical guides like the AMA. It says this means the pump in the arm makers have been fraudulently exempt from what all pharmaceutical drug makers have been forced to do concerning biannual recertification for quality and effectiveness, meaning that their pumps in the arm have never been tested for quality and have been no proven safety or effectiveness for over 30 years. So imagine that in the past, pumps in the arms that you got for whatever, polio, AIDS, pneumonia, smallpox, stuff like that. Okay. Think about all that. But it says this case can now be legally cited by all parents with fraudulent mandate by any government or organization regulation requirement that they must pump in their children for school or any other activity to stop the forced pump in the arm of their children. Now, I know from my generation, many other older generations, when they were kids, they had to have these shots for going to school, just like now, like they're forcing them in Europe right now. Anyway, it says this case can now be legally cited for all employees being mandated by their employers to be vaccinated in order to retain their jobs. This can now be legally cited by those who seek compensation by pumping the arm injury, making it likely that the pharmaceutical vaccine industry can, the near future, be legally bankrupt and out of existence, like Bayer Monsanto is an example of one of them. After a landmark legal victory won by the dying landscaper in San Francisco several weeks ago, as well as their stock value plummeting precariously. The future of allopathic medicine in the current form is now in doubt, as well as the global pharmaceutical cartel. Now, you see those magic words? Global pharmaceutical cartel. Now think about that. I want you to really, really comprehend that one. Since almost all the drugs and practitioners prescribed come from pharmaceutical corporations, which have also committed a pump in the arm fraud and injury situation. So that means that your doctors, your medical people, nurses, anybody giving you that pump in the arm is also going to be included in that. Okay. The existence of deep state corporation mainstream news media will now also be further endangered, since 70% of their income streams come from their global pharmaceutical cartel. So remember, I told you not to believe the news on TV, no matter what station. I've had wars even on Twitter with them. Okay. This is why. This is why I'm out of Florida. Many of you guys know that, but we get TV stations like ABC, NBC, Wink, MSN, SNN, who is it? CBS. Okay, all them. When I physically went down to, or not physically went down, but when I verbally kind of said, hey, you can't be pushing this forward, this is why. This is the proof why. Because 70% of their income stream comes from global pharmaceutical cartel, and it's proof right in front of your nose, okay, which I will give you the link here after I'm done talking. But it says, which in America has been responsible for over almost a whole million people sacrificed per year, at least for the past half century, for every year. Now imagine that, a sacrifice of 1 million people every year from the pharmaceutical company. They don't need to kill the masses here in any country right now. They've been doing it all along. This is the existence of the deep state corporation mainstream media. Let's see. Okay, cartel, we did that one. Okay. And it says autism rates will now likely plummet, freeing up American people from another deep state engineered diplomatically and providing further evidence of mass pumps in the arm causing autism. Now, we had a little war about that too, right? It says all government officials who have passed a law legalizing the pump in the arm fraud to the state, national, international level, and otherwise aided and abetted this pump in the arm fraud can now be charged with pumping the arm fraud, criminal malfeasance, and some cases of war under the Nuremberg Code. So this is where there's going to be probably a class action lawsuit, and they're going to go after everybody. So remember how all those Democrats on the podium, like Pelosi and what's his name, Schumer, and whoever else, even that little redheaded speaker and everybody else telling everybody, oh, go get the shot. Even Fauci and who else? All those medical people as well that are in the big house pushing it. There you go. This is this thing right here. This is what's going on. This is part of the answer that Marfugo and everybody else was wondering about what's to come. This is what's coming. How they're going to do it, well, we'll go over that in a little bit. But it says all government officials. So imagine this: politicians involved with any kind of pharmaceutical company. They could have had a donation to that particular politician. Guess what? They're connected. They endorse maybe the pharmaceutical company, or the pharmaceutical company endorsed them. They're connected. Okay. They might have helped pass a bill, a politician, or maybe help with tracking it. There you go. Let's see, what else? The transportation of getting these pump in the arms to all the states in the Union of the United States. There you go. That's under aiding and abetting. Okay. So think about that. Think about the people that giving you the shot when you were up in a line somewhere. Those are people aiding and abetting. Okay. Think about also too how they're threatening your life, where you can't go on a cruise or you can't get on an airline because you don't have the pump in the arm. Guess what? They're aiding and abetting the pump in the arm fraud, which is under the Nuremberg Code. So you could go ahead and sue that airline for letting you not fly. You could sue that cruise ship for not letting you go. You could sue your employer for not letting you work because they're aiding and abetting on the fraud of the pump in the arm. I mean, it could go on and on and on and on. You could sue your daycare, your school. Look at all the college kids that can't go to school unless they have the pump in the arm. You could sue the college, It goes on and on and on. Under the Nuremberg Code, this is what it states. But anyway, and I will give you the link. I'll provide the link so you can see the proof yourself. It says this letter from Dawn Bell, an American health professional, warns the pump in the arm is not safe and becomes ineffective after 10 years. She says her daughter was injured by the pump in the arm. In the recent mumps outbreak, 100% of the mump cases were college kids who were all 100% vaccinated. Bingo. And what do we have on our hands right now? We have a cesspool of probably 2.5 million Americans, not mentioning any other country in the world, that has the pump in the arm. At least, probably more. And it says here that all 100% were pump in the arm. 90%, which is 9 out of 10 of those college kids that got the mumps pump in the arm, okay, have died last year from a flu epidemic and received the flu shot. Now, you tell me, how many of you guys read labels on what's in the CV pump in the arm on all 4 pharmaceutical companies, and did your research on what those chemicals do to your body? Evidently, our politicians didn't take that responsibility, did they? Anyway, and then you have something called herd immunity, which is achievable at 85% of the population, which is immune to the disease. And vaccination, they'll say good for about 10 years, only absolute max at 20, and anyone over the age of 20 are not immune any longer. So now you have created a situation of false immunity. So this is all part of their false thing under the Nuremberg Code so far. So, and it goes on and on and on. but it talks about everything from E. coli to smallpox to different vaccinational things, I guess, and what it does, all this stuff. But this is a good read. But right here it says, here is the actual Supreme Court case. Lawful remedy to any alleged shelter at home and order issued because of CV. In order for read domain copies, it says demand notice of warning of commercial grace blank lines to be filled in. And it says misuse of the unlawful conduct and unlawful issue of government entities such as lockdowns and mandatory mask wearing. So I'm going to go in. All right, first, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to give you guys the link on this. And I will give you, this is going to be scrolling in the bottom so you can have that, so you can look that one up. Okay. And this will be the link for the Pumping the Arm lawsuit. Now, here's the other thing. We want to go to the Supreme Court case. And remember, I told you, you can't trust anything in government right now. Okay? You just can't. You just, unfortunately, it is what it is, But anyway, this was on April 12th, 2020. And this was, I guess, maybe filled out. But anyway, it says here, you can go to the website. There's a website here, but I'll give you guys the page at the end of what I'm talking about. But it says remedy for assault attack from government officials seek to enforce an alleged executive order because of CV and deprive you from the unalienable and constitutional right of liberty without due process of law. Okay, this is number one, where if they try come door to door, this is a Nuremberg situation on them. Okay? I don't care who you are. I don't care if, it's police, the UN, the, I don't know, medical people, health department. I don't care who you are, right? Right there. That they're against the Nuremberg situation. Then here it says remedy for any government official such as governor, mayor, issuing an alleged executive order commanding you to stay at home because of CV or other reasons. Okay. Now I want you, for people in Southwest Florida, think about the mayor in Punta Gorda, okay, that doesn't like a lot of stuff that's going on with the truth. Okay. This is where she can also be held accountable right along with her colleagues that serve with her and can be sued because she's going with the narrative of the COVID situation. Okay. So here it says here, and it says that this Constitution and laws of the United States in which shall be made pursuant thereof shall be supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall bound by thereby, and anything in the Constitution or laws of the state of the contrary, notwithstanding U.S. Constitution, Article 6, Section 2, I believe that is. I think that's how I read that, or I got it backwards. Either 4 or 6. I forgot my V1, Section 2. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law. 5th article of amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Okay, well, 5th. So this is where right now everything that's going on revolving around the CV with the whole Democratic Party, they're in trouble with the Nuremberg Code. Not mentioning anything else. I mean, it mounds on top of that. Okay? Now, And this goes for the local level too. Anyone trying to force you to take that as well. The pump in the arm. So I'm going to give this out. There's different remedies in here as well. And this is a very, very, very valuable piece of information. Okay. And I'm not usually one to give out something like this for free. So let me post this in my stream as well. And like I say, all I ask for you guys is to make some donations to my channel to help support my cause and research and things that we do. All right. So here is what you got scrolling in the bottom is the legality part of it. And in there, like I say, towards the bottom part of the page is the Supreme Court case. I think that's what I just gave you guys. Did I give you guys that? I don't know if I gave you guys that or not. Let me see what I gave you. Maybe I did. I don't remember. No. All right. Here is, oh yeah, I did. Okay. So what I gave you, that's scrolling on the bottom of your thing, is the actual Supreme Court case, okay, on this. What I'm also going to give you guys is this here, which is the rest of the other part of the article that I was talking about. So give me a minute. Let me put that in there as well. Oops, hang on a minute. Hang on, I'll get it in there. All right, here is the other one I'm going to put in right now, which is the other one that we, all right. Yeah, all right. So you'll have the link on this one here, on this page here, which talks about the Nuremberg and all the different pumps in the arm that we can hold our government liable against. And the same thing with the shelter at home issue for people who lost their jobs or couldn't work or could only work part-time even because of the COVID situation, that lost even monetary value in their business from it, and etc. So yeah, I guess it covers it all, I guess. So, but I wanted to give you guys that one. And this was posted here on the 20th. The research was done before that, May 18th, when it started coming out, where they had it surfaced on the information on that now. All right, so make sure also too, since I got you here, make sure you guys are in my Telegram page. That also gives me also emergency information as well that I cannot maybe show on different platforms. Okay. Make sure you follow me there on Telegram, because if something happens to Tubeland or any of the other platforms, I'll have that. Just make sure you follow me on all the platforms, because, you know, as this is progressing forward on everything, on all issues, the more problems we're going to have with things being filtered out, and, you know, maybe even the internet going down. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, so that's that. Now the other thing, let's see. This is the other one, I think. Hang on a minute. And just to let you guys know on certain updates, it's been told to me through other resources military connected wise, that we definitely need to get our homes in order. I'll put it that way. Um, there's a lot of stuff happening right now. Um, and also, just to give you an update, um, for those that are in UFO stuff, okay, um, there was a UAP report, and supposedly it involved the Air Force on it, but evidently there's some disclosure, I guess, on it, some new stuff happening. So if you go over to the Black Vault, he has some updates on that. I'm not going to go over that in my show right now, but check that out as well. And then what else do I need to do? Also, yeah, so they said basically to get your house in order, um, get it prepared, make sure you're stocked up. It's kind of like, oh, see, they're playing games on me already. Oh, great. Um, basically, get your house in order because things are going to happen to the point where things are going to get disrupted again, maybe. You heard about that big ship over in, I forgot where it was, but it was a cargo ship that got grounded again. That was planned. They're trying to do the same thing like they did over in um, the Nile River, I think it was, where the other cargo ship got lodged. They're repeating their thing again. Okay. They're repeating the process again. So be careful on that. Okay. They're planning on, like I say, a supply and demand shortage situation on many goods. Okay. That's all I'm going to say at the moment. At the same time, I've also got information from a cell phone tower installer that does work on cell phone towers. He has and done, and I have it on my um, Telegram page in Telegram, uh, where they're putting in special types of electronics in the actual cell phone towers. He showed me like a motherboard, and it actually said COVID-19 on it, or COV-19 on it, and that's being installed in the towers. Now, if any of you guys did big research on the 5G or any cell phone tower stuff or anything else, you'll know the connections to what I'm saying with um, the CV and past programs I did on frequency and stuff like that. So check that out. That's in my Telegraph page as well. And then also too, I've got reports that there's a lot of underground tunnel systems right now being flooded out. There's an underground war happening in these tunnels where there's been our military with fighting against other people in those tunnels. Don't ask me exactly yet what's going on with that. That's just surface stuff right now. But I'm sure you can read between the lines or put two and two together there. Also, too, I have Venezuela defense minister, according to that person, the U.S. military aircraft entered that airspace on Friday, supposedly violating their country's sovereignty. I don't know. I don't have confirmation on that yet, but if you go to maybe MonkeyWorks and ask him, he probably could give you some updates on that one. All right, let me see what else I can give you guys. Also, too, I've got also some information. I'm not knowing the liability on this one, but supposedly the USSA news saying that DHS training courses to prepare the masses for a quarantine and unvaccinated rural American situation. You can get that info as well on my Telegraph page. It's got the link posted on all these articles I'm telling you. And then also too, if you go to that same page, there's so much information. It's unreal. I've also got reports that UN's already in Utah. I don't know. I don't have any persons from there yet to confirm that. And also too, how do I put this lightly or best I can? Some of you guys did research on the harp, not the musical instrument, but the other one. Okay. What they're trying to do right now with correlating with all these military exercises, just like the one that happened off of Miami with us and all that, is that they're trying to create an earthquake. Like I say from my previous program, I believe they're going to try to use the HART program to do so. If they do that, I'd say the pinpoint worst case scenario situation, if they do it, which will be easier for them, would probably be around the Ring of Fire, which would be the west coast of the states all the way down to the west, the continent type thing. And then it will also hit everything on the Asia's area and so on. If you don't know where the Ring of Fire is, go research it. It's in the Pacific. So, yeah. And that will create a tsunami. When they're going to do it, I don't know. But I do have some new speculations of numbers of getting heads up on time frame. Someone threw some numbers at me. August, let me look at my paperwork. August 11th and 24th, I believe it was. I think so. Let me double check. Yeah, the whole month of August you got to have heads up for, but they were looking at date-wise. Let's see, something was going to happen around the 11th and the 24th, I believe. Let me double check something here again. So yeah, I believe those were the dates. Now, whether they're planning a shutdown, whether they're planning attack, whether they're planning, I don't know what they're planning, but those are hot dates that I was given. I don't know what's going to happen. Let me see what else. Give me a minute. I'm looking. Give me a minute. Oh, also too, since I got you guys here, look at the symbology in the U.S. opening or the Olympics on the opening ceremony. There's a lot of symbology going on. It actually confirms and correlates with the Davos Great Reset and the CV cell virus looking thing kind of thing, right? Check that out on symbolisms, but they're all there. But if you want to get them, you can get it in my channel in Telegraph. That's Boho's info channel on Telegraph. Also, too, they found graphene oxide in the jabs, some in masks and some in swabs. Like I said again, you guys didn't research what's inside any of this crap. It's part of the research of things. But basically, the graphene oxide basically provokes immune system collapse. And if you think about that with the actual the 5G situation that they're popping out, pulling out kind of thing, okay, you can see why I'm saying things carefully, okay? So yeah. And there's going to be huge news coming soon. This news that's coming down, officially. Now, not something I can say. Well, maybe I can after it's been said, but it's going to shock the world. And it's going to be something that all generations, I don't think, have been exposed unless you're involved with maybe I'll give you the hint of the great, you're maybe in war or had a family member in war. I'll put it that way. But yeah, anyway, so, and the military basically is telling their officers on 0405 level to get their houses in order. So if they're getting themselves in order, there's something huge happening. You know what I'm saying? Okay, now I'm going to back up and say, okay, there's many people like in the Mark Fugel family or other places and things saying, hey, well, what is it going to be? Well, here's my scenario thing. I think what's going to happen is there's probably going to be some kind of war. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be one, maybe a big one, the big three war, but I think there's going to be a war in the nation. And what I mean by that is because there's enough evidence, there's enough proof, and there's enough patriots and enough people that swore an oath to this country with the help of our military. And if our military is not lacking in enough strength, that I think the UN would come in to figure out that United States collapsed because of these infiltrated people that are connected to these different communist countries that are in our political system, our legal system, and our different branches of a government. Okay. And I think what's going to happen is they're going to pull them all out and they're going to try them under Nuremberg law, basically. And then what's going to happen is, of course, you're going to have a little bit of collapse maybe happening in the country. And yeah, you can put two and two together what I'm saying, I think. I don't see, after everything seeing for military movement and things happening with our exercises with all the countries in the world, I don't believe the exercises were going to be intentionally used for a global war situation. I think what's happening is that every country in the world is waking up like we are, and their leadership and their leadership's levels of different branches of their own governments are having the same problems that our branches of the government are having. And I think it's the same thing where, there's going to be internal wars maybe in their countries as well, like ours, that take these communist Marxist people out. And they'll try them under Nuremberg law kind of thing. And so it's going to be like a domino effect, because here's the thing. If the United States doesn't stand, then no other country in the globe will stand. Okay, you follow me? And it's not a war against each other. This should be a thing where we come and help each other kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's happening, is that every country is finding out that they have spies in their own countries that are communist or Marxists, and they're, trying to, get rid of them. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to. So, yeah. I think that's what's coming down. And then anybody that's connected to them is going to be right along with them, And here's a new thing too. I forgot to tell you guys this, but I believe, I think it was General Milley opened up Virginia base. Now that's very close to what they call Five Forks tunnel system area. So think about that. If they start arresting a bunch of people in DC, okay, let's just say to pinpoint one place, a what if type thing, then they're going to, of course, put them down the tunnel system and then ship them to where they need to ship them to and get rid of them, or, what time they'll bail them or whatever they're going to do with them, right? So stay tuned to Monkey Works channel, because it gives you a lot of airfare situations. I'll give you tunnel system rulings if I can, when I can get a hold of them, and as well as weather situations on that too. Let me think what else. All right. So, all right, I think this is going to be it for now. I'll keep doing my checking on things. Let me. Oh, one more thing. Hang on a minute. I got one more thing. Hang on. All right. Also, I don't know if you guys know about the Durham report, but it's supposedly coming out. House Intelligence is going to pop it out. I think there's going to be a lot of people, I guess, going to prison being connected to that Durham report, which means politicianal things, people in the government, aides, etc. Um, Also, the election exposure is part of this whole process and part of the catch up in it. It's not only involved with the Durham report, but the Nuremberg Code stuff, as well as stuff going on with the CV and the activation of everything that's happening right now and what they're planning on future doing too. So everybody's telling me to watch the water. Okay. So I'm telling you guys, watch the water. Okay. So what, in order for them to go through with their diversion, they have to create a massive storm. Now, people are saying, okay, well, this could be internally, right? This could be externally. This could be part of the cyber stuff. No, I think what this is going to mean is that they're actually going to use the HARP to create something that is going to create an actual flood. Okay, how do you do a flood? By either massive amount of rainfall, blowing up a dam, or creating a tsunami by an earthquake effect. Okay, so watch the water. That's my thing for you guys out there, and to pass the word on. Make sure you guys, if anybody's in the Fugel family or anybody else out there, Patriot wise, pass the word on to them as well on all this information, especially this particular emergency program. So yeah, but everybody's telling me the harp is going to create something. The harp is going to create something, not the musical instrument, but you know. So watch it. Supposedly say, oh yeah, they shut it down, but it's been operational. Um, Never trust them. You know what I'm saying? All right, and then there was another thing I was going to tell you guys real quick. Let me see here. Give me a minute. So people ask me, like, why do I do all this stuff, right? It's because I love this country. I love this country because of what it stood for, okay? Here's the thing. If we get any immigrants in, whether they're illegal or legal, okay, they should have the same thing that I have, right? They got to work for it. They got to do it through the legal way. You know what I'm saying? But they still should be able to do and be able to have what I have. You know what I mean? And I trust me, I don't have much, but yeah. But I do it because of the love of the country, okay? And um, I'm not against. You know, I have a very open mind because I've grown up very fast. I didn't have a childhood really. So I experienced things in the world more than probably most. And I've been through a lot, you know, and I know what loss of life is all about. So, um, yeah, I do it because of the love of the country, you know. All right, there's one more thing. Give me a minute and I got to find it. It's in here somewhere. Hang on. I got another thing coming in. Everybody's giving me everything. All right. Let's see what else here. Anyway, yeah. So even if they expose all these, you know, plans or whatever, it's going to boil down to see whether our generals are communist or Marxist because they've taken the oath. Okay. And if they're going to sit here and help America and help us citizens, then they need to protect us from our own government, which is protecting us from foreign or domestic enemy. Well, unfortunately, we got domestic enemies, and they're called Democrats. What can I say? Maybe not all of them are bad, but a good portion of them are. Do your homework. All right, let me see. I think that's all now. I keep looking for more. I've got to answer a couple of these. I might be coming back on within like maybe a half an hour. So let me answer a lot of this stuff that's happening right now. And I'll get back to you. Also, too, before I leave, I need to let you guys know, do not show your faces on the internet at any kind of platform. Do not do any electronic transferring of funds any which way possible. And what I mean by that is, like, you hear people doing like Western Union type stuff. Don't do none of that. Oh, the other thing I forgot to tell you is I'm hearing they're going to make a hit on Bitcoin. Not hackers, but I believe, someone, I think it was either the government or somebody else, because they want the dollar to come up high because it's low right now because of Bitcoin. So they're going after electronic transferring right now, and also the Bitcoin situation, and how it's not being regulated, where you can do basically tax free. There's no taxes on it, stuff like that. So there's certain things happening with that right now as well. Okay, I gotta go. I really need to go. I need to answer this stuff. There's a lot here going on, and give me about a half an hour. Stay tuned to my Twitter or my YouTube. I'll try to come back up and pop things back up. But make sure you are a follower on my Telegram page. Like I say, I can't have shows every day, but when the information comes out on a daily basis, I shuttle it into my Telegram. Okay. All right. Until next time, this is Boho with the info. We're over and out. See you next time. Thanks for coming. Oh, quick shout out before I go. I have to do the shout out. Lulu, Minnesota. Christopher, lovely 144. Another Christopher, all cam. All right. Oh, and you guys need that link too, right? Okay. Forgot the link. I know. I keep forgetting the link. Hang on. I'll do it right now. I'm doing it. I'm doing the link right now. Here's the other link. Oh, no, you guys got it. This one right here. That's the link right there. And if you guys, I got one more link to give you guys. Hang on, one more. There's my link right there. If you guys want to make a donation to the channel, do it on the PayPal. I think the PayPal is there, or you can go to YouTube or my Twitter, and they'll give you the link to that. So far, everything's rolling with that. That's cool and going. Okay. Everything helps. I'd like to someday get a bigger, better computer and a better camera, because I'm hearing reports that people are not seeing my stuff clear enough. So hopefully you can fund me on that. All right. Until next time, this is Boho with the info. We're over and out. Stay tuned. Maybe half an hour or so. We'll be back on. Bye.